Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today, we are covering Together, which came out in 2025. We thought it would be extremely appropriate for Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Week, I should say. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, I am drinking the Republic of Tea Super Green Brain Boost, which has, I know it's inverted, but oh well, we'll deal with it. I should one day invert my camera, but anyways, it has green tea ginkgo, Japanese green tea matcha, and ginkgo extract.
And I'm drinking Twinings Pure Peppermint Tea, and surprise, surprise, it has peppermint.
See, I was paying attention this time, so I was waiting for you
I knew you would be. I knew you would be.
You just keep me guessing.
Yes.
Rude. But
Gotta have my fun somehow.
But for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So, a couple moves from the bustling city to a remote area, hoping to kind of grow their relationship further. And from a hike, they fall into a cavern. And in order to survive, they drink some water. And when they finally make it out of the cavern, they slowly discover that something was not right with that water. So, for entertainment, I think we all know that I am not into body horror. And so this movie had a lot of horrifying moments for me. And it's also, the fact that it's obviously representative of codependency and a toxic relationship and things like that. And so, the movie's not necessarily pleasant to begin with. And so, anyways, I give it a 7.25 just because I thought that it was an interesting movie on how they represented codependency and toxic relationships. But yeah, but I will say the pacing in this movie felt pretty good. I don't know. I like the slow burn to where, obviously they show you in the beginning what to expect, but I almost kind of like that more because you know what's going to happen, but you just don't know how quickly. But yeah, the body horror stuff, though, they just made some interesting choices and had some interesting scenes. But yeah, I don't know. The one thing that I feel was kind of lacking in the movie, I feel as far as the two main characters, which both actors did a great job, I felt between the strongest points of the movie was definitely between the two actors and their slow transition. But whenever they started bringing in additional lore to explain why it was happening to them, they were bringing in the religious cult stuff. I don't know. it's like they gave enough to where it sort of explained it, but left me wanting, it left me with more questions than answers, I feel like. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's like, what's a movie? There's a movie that I've watched that's very similar that I can't
The
think.
Thing.
No, no. I
That's
mean,
what it reminded me of.
Yes, it did remind me of The Thing.
Especially a lot of like the practical effects and all.
I mean, I'm referring more specifically to another horror movie that is representing like a toxic relationship. I can't. I can't.
There
remember.
are several. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But either way, I feel like it's a good movie if you want to watch something that kind of makes I don't know, kind of has a lot of like symbolism to it. But I wasn't necessarily like, it's obviously a horror movie, but it wasn't like I wasn't scared or anything. It's just more like you're sitting back watching how things unravel. So yeah, it's definitely, I feel like it's one of those types of horror movies where it's not everybody's cup of tea. And
Oh, for sure.
and really there was the only redeeming quality for me personally was the fact that it was supposed to be like a metaphor for like a toxic relationship. But you know, the body horror stuff is not pleasant, but I, understand why they did it that way and where they're coming from and the necessity of it for what they were trying to go for. But yeah, I feel like some people will get more out of this than others.
It's a good argument for each person in the relationship finding other things that help fulfill their life. And having a strong argument as well for alone time and separate hobbies and things.
Yeah.
Because this movie, throughout the entire thing, I was sitting there asking, what in the toxic codependent hell? And by the end of the movie, it's one that you just sit there and go, what the hell did I just watch? This was an odd duck of a movie. There's a lot of commentary for it. And honestly, this particular movie kind of made me wish that it was one that we had watched together and like recorded commentary on because I feel like it would have been a funny episode, honestly. Entertainment wise, it's a very uncomfortable movie. It's very uncomfortable, from body horror to just purely awkward scenes and like socially awkward things, and then weird sex scene in a elementary school bathroom stall, and references to like period and all, and just toxic relationship, and just the whole thing is one of the most uncomfortable movies that I've watched in many ways. And there were certain scenes that I did not appreciate. The stretchy peen is one. that I can think of, and another is the eyelashes and eyeball touching part.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
Did not
oh.
like that.
The fact that they're like just
They were
staring
doing
into
that,
each other's souls.
and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I was like shoving myself back in my seat on the couch. Like, I don't like this. This is unpleasant. Please no, please no, please. Ah, it's touching
Oh.
the eyeballs. This is not okay. But we already both have said several times that we have a thing about eyeballs and teeth. Don't like it. It's not okay. But it's a super weird movie. Very, very weird and very awkward. All around, because it is still morbidly interesting. It's like watching a train wreck. It's hard to look away. You still are curious about what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you keep watching. So I give it a 7. I probably won't pick it up again. I might watch it again just for the sheer morbidity of it and the WTF factor of it. But honestly, it's definitely not going to be one that I go out of my way to watch. And it's not going to be the first kind of movie that I say, y'all should definitely watch this.
Yeah.
It's not one of those. It's definitely not one of those. But it's weird, honestly. Just the list of notes that I have here is I did take off for dog death in the very beginning ×2. Right off the bat. And then note after note, it's like, oh, that party got awkward fast. What in the fever dream bullshit was that? Stop touching the tools, city boy. Like, it's just things like that. Nah, that's a Fedor. F that. When they show, like, in the forest when they're going through their hike, and the trees are lining the pathway with their branches overhanging, and it looks legitimately like an arch through there. I'm like, nah, no, that's a Fedor. Nope. That's a nope path. We're gonna go back and find a different way because not today. I wasn't entirely wrong.
Nope.
That whole cavern, you could tell there was something not right about it. Regardless of the random church pews and cathedral-like stuff or church-like stuff in there. No, those are not natural rock formations. There's something off about that. Just the whole thing. There's... What in the toxic codependent hell is that dinner? It's just...
Man, and then whenever they finally combine and they show them, and it's the most uncanny valley looking.
Yes. Yes. So it's just the whole stream of notes is just like basically just rehashes of what in the toxic codependent hell. And please no. There's just a lot of please no. Please don't do that. They did the thing. So, I got more for for realism, but entertainment wise, this is mostly a no thank you. But it was still interesting, so all round objectively, I give it a 7. Probably not going to pick it up again though.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like it's one of those movies that I'm like, oh, friend I have hasn't seen this. I need to scar you too.
I suffered through this, so now you're gonna. And I get to watch your reaction. That'll make it better.
Like, misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
Suffer
the greasy strangler for me. Which I don't think
I
we've
have
actually
dodged
reviewed
so
it.
far.
Yeah, and maybe
it so
if
far. I've
someone
never seen
requests it, we will review it.
So yeah, you want to move on to realism and the insanity that is there?
Yeah, so like,
You got to set some things aside.
yeah, so I give it a 2.5 because, like, as far as like the main characters' reactions and their relationship and stuff, I felt like that was more realistic. But of course, the fact that they're combining and they drink cursed water, so yeah, but I will say I like the fact that in the beginning, up to the point of them being trapped, that their dysfunctional relationship was actually kind of subtle. Like, they weren't really beating you over the head. There were just kind of red flags here and there that you're like, oh, that's a little odd. But I don't know. There wasn't anything. I'm saying compared to other movies like this where they kind of beat you over the head with like, okay, they're in an awful relationship and, this awful thing's going to happen to them. I felt like they were a little bit more subtle.
I don't know. Like the whole movie, I was getting flashing red lights and like blaring sirens of run.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. It's like the red flag at the beginning that I really saw was like at the party where he didn't seem to be the most excited about it. And especially like the really awkward proposal thing.
Yeah, he hesitated.
Yeah.
He was clearly like super awkward about it and thrown off by it and everything. And you could see in his eyes the almost panic of, I'm going to be trapped in this situation and I'm not really very comfortable with this.
Yeah, which, I mean, in and of itself, it's like, okay, if you're feeling like that already, then maybe you shouldn't, move to a remote location with her.
If it's anything other than an enthusiastic yes, there's a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, but I don't know. It's like, aside from that, like once they are in their new like area together, it's like I see that they're kind of like leaning on each other a lot as far as like for company, but that I attributed it more to the fact that they didn't really know anyone else yet, and so they didn't really have a choice. But of course, like, her hesitation with him, like wanting to do like touring with his music and like stuff like that. And I feel like whenever they actually fell in the pit and he was more concerned, I don't know. It's like their relationship is interesting because, she was asking if he was okay, but then he was more concerned with his phone that had his music on it, which I'm like, you're supposed to have multiple copies of your, like, never put one copy in one location. Like, no, especially if it's something that important. But anyways.
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's like in the beginning, I was trying to kind of figure them out because he seemed less caring and loving towards her, but he also was obviously getting something in the relationship to like stay. And so it's like, I don't know. I was kind of like originally wondering like maybe she gave him like a certain amount of like emotional, so she obviously fulfilled some level of emotional need from his side for him to continue to want to be in that relationship. But either way, it's like I really like the fact that there definitely were red flags. I'm not saying that there weren't any, but it wasn't quite as bad as like beating you over the head with it as I've seen in other movies. It felt more realistic, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I can see that.
But then after that, once they drink the water, I feel like it definitely nosedives and into, I mean, it's still like realistic, but it's like I feel like they definitely pick up the red flags and stuff with what they're going through. But
I feel like they wave them a little more vigorously at that point.
yes, absolutely. And I
like
thought
they were already there. They're just like
yeah. But it's like, I want to throw the Colt in there, but it's like they give you so little information. That's like, yeah. I mean, obviously people can't combine bodies. Which, I was not expecting that twist with her, with that guy. I will say it felt like he was kind of shoehorned in initially. But then whenever they did that,
it was convenient that he was there.
Yes, yeah. But whenever they revealed the twist with him, I was like, oh, interesting.
I called it a little early, but it made sense.
I kind of, at least, yeah. I don't know. In my mind, I was thinking that like they would more than likely die as they were kind of combining, because they almost seemed like, with watching the dogs in the beginning, it almost kind of seemed like one was like trying to eat the other. So I thought that that's how they were kind of going to go. And I don't know. To me, it was an interesting twist. I'm like, oh, if you just accept it, you'll survive it.
Well, and it was hard to tell with the dogs if one of them was fighting it or not.
Yeah.
They seemed kind of like they were sort of combining. They were just in the transition process, and they were likely killed in the midst of it. Because at that point, I mean, normal reaction, someone coming up on that is to, oh dear God, kill it with fire.
At minimum, to give it like, stop its suffering, because there's no way that that's pleasant.
No. Definitely not. Personally, I give it a 1.5. The whole scenario seemed a little
Right.
Their relationship also, there was so much resentment in it. And they were complacent, and I'm glad that they mentioned it at one point. That they were just comfortable with each other.
Yes. I'm actually...
They were also... Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm glad that they brought that up, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people forget. Is you're in a relationship, and oftentimes it feels easier to just stay together even though you're not necessarily the happiest, versus breaking up and having to start over.
But relationships also take work. And they clearly weren't doing the work. So it seemed almost like it had a shelf life. And that they were heading towards a eventual breakup. So for them to do basically a 180 and refuse to leave each other and all, it seemed a little forced there, especially at the end. Like every sign and red flag and everything was telling them this is not a good relationship to be in. There's going to be resentment on one or both sides if you continue. You're not going to feel very fulfilled, or you're going to feel like you're being held back or things like that. So it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good situation. So
well, I mean, like,
the fact that, and I know that people are in that situation every day and they still choose to stay in that, but it just seemed a little off.
I don't know. Because I know there's situations, especially in codependent relationships, where, like, you know, if one person kind of starts to drift away and be like, I don't think this is a good fit, sometimes or oftentimes the other person will then try and cling harder to the relationship because they're like, no, you know, we can't let this go. So it's like whenever he was quote unquote like proposing to her or whatever, that's what I took it as okay, he realizes that he's getting something out of the relationship, and now that it seems like they're kind of try like at the, if I recall right, in that scene, she just seemed like a little bit more like, okay, let's, you know, go our separate ways or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm not ready to. I don't know. Relationships are complicated. People are complicated.
They are, but it seemed a little, like I said, forced. For the movie's sake and for plot's sake. Again, party got awkward real fast. I was surprised he even had power tools if he didn't know how to use them.
Who knows?
I was like, that seems a little weird, and also please stop touching it if you don't know how to use it. Please just no. No. Literally call anyone else that knows how to use it instead of you. Please don't. Or at least have them show you how to use it, because you're going to end up hurting yourself. And that's what they ended up using it for, specifically. Which was not okay. But I'm glad they didn't show it fully.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
I did count off at first for how he knew specifically that the smell was coming from above the light. Above that specific light when they first moved in. I am glad that they explained it a little bit. It's still, I feel like he still would have been walking around a little bit more and trying to pinpoint that was the actual area that the smell was coming from. But it at least makes a bit more sense. Yeah. Why he was like, it's the light. I have to check above the light.
Yeah.
Again, the weird formations in that cave area, like the walls, the floor, the ceiling, none of it looked natural. It didn't necessarily look man-made, but it didn't look normal.
Right.
And they never mentioned that. They mentioned that the cult used it, but it was like in the flashbacks and videos and things that they showed, it looked exactly like that. It's just that the stuff that was on top had fallen down into it.
Yeah.
So they never explained how the cult found it or anything like that. So part of me is still like, Fedor. That's Fae stuff right there. No touchy. You're not supposed to drink the Fae liquids that are presented to you. No. Also, it was raining cats and dogs. I would much more readily be cupping my hands in that rainwater and drinking that than the stagnant
Yes.
shithole water.
Dang it, I forgot to
Sitting
mention that.
there.
Yeah, like the whole
Absolutely
idea.
not.
Yeah, the whole thing about him being like, "Oh, I'm going to go grab this water." It's like, "What?" And it's like it seems
You go over to the hole you fell down from and lift up your head and open your mouth.
Yeah.
And get some water or cup your hands under that and drink that. But no, absolutely fucking not.
Well, and then plus, like, it seemed like they weren't down there that long before he was like, "I'm so thirsty." It's like, then
day.
Yeah, it says like, hold off on that maybe until if you can get out or not.
Absolute last resort kind of thing.
Yeah.
They left as soon as the rain was over the next day.
Yeah.
Like if you're down there 3-4 days, okay, yeah, absolutely. That's the only water available. Sure, that makes sense. But you just fell down there 10 minutes ago.
Well, and then the fact that like he drinks it and he's like, "See, it's okay." And then she takes a drink. It's like, just because you drink it and you don't immediately get sick or die, that doesn't mean that the water was safe.
Yeah, it's not generally an immediate thing.
Yeah.
So, no. I did again appreciate the fact that he gave some backstory on the light and also his dream. His dream made sense. So, when their legs were stuck together and they pulled it apart and it was disgusting, I was sitting there the entire time like, please tell me they treated their legs when they got back, because that's not okay. That can turn into infection and sepsis and all kinds of bad, not nice things, unpleasant, gross things. So they didn't show any of that or even mention that, yeah, they treated their legs after and or saw a doctor. Didn't appreciate that and took off for that. And also the fact that nothing came of it. The dinner was uncomfortable as hell, and again, waving all the red flags everywhere for the cheap shots that they were taking at each other.
Yeah.
In front of a guest, especially.
Yeah. That's awkward.
And the guy was just sitting there like, this is fine. This is normal. Get it all out there. This is whatever. I feel like the big hug from the teacher guy, I think his name is Jamie, to the coworker whose house he just stayed at, right in front of her significant other, was a choice. Then, of course, the elementary school bathroom scene took off so many things for that. They're lucky they weren't arrested. Didn't appreciate the stretchy peen. That was not okay. Again, they take so many cheap shots at each other. It's so unhealthy. Then she tries to smooth things over with the coworker and try to make sure that he's not going to call the cops on her for being in the little boy's room and also not alone. in a stall with someone that shouldn't have been on the premises to begin with.
Yeah.
Also, the boyfriend then, while she's trying to smooth things over with the coworker, being a creepy ass stalker in the guy's window. And his excuse is, I didn't know where else to go. How about home? Why would you follow it? No, absolutely not. Then they they have to cut their arms apart, which was, again, bless you, unpleasant.
Thank you.
And I'm sitting here like, hospital? Meanwhile, they're just sitting in the kitchen a few feet apart eating things. No? Okay. And then she finally, at that point, after they've gotten some food in their system, goes, we need to go to the hospital. Oh, good. I thought you had lost all common sense, but at least you have a little bit left. And then she doesn't end up going to the hospital. And the idiot boyfriend goes and looks for that place again. I took off again for the hikers that had gone missing that they read about before, that he found in the cave after, when they weren't there at all, when they had fallen down there.
Yes.
So where were they? They left and came back to merge, but there was no information about, oh, they were found or they were seen, so they're still alive. Nothing like that. So it implies that they were there the whole time.
Yeah.
But they were there all night and there was nothing.
Yep.
So that was a movie's got a movie kind of thing, showing that they were merging and everything.
Yep.
Mr. Jamie being, and his partner being part of the cult, didn't make that much sense. That felt, again, a little, like you said, kind of shoehorned in. He was clearly, like, there was something off about him the entire movie. He was just so accepting of everything with their relationship and everything. It just seemed off. So him and his partner merging does make sense, but being part of the cult and then the church having afterwards, I guess, fell down into that area and all. But I mean, people in the town would still know about that cult, you would think.
Yeah.
And there was no information on it at all.
Especially with it being a small town.
Oh, yeah. That was a tiny area. So it just seemed wrong.
Yeah.
And I also took off because how are they supposed to explain this to the parents that showed up, like, the next day to have a meal with them? And they look completely different because they've merged. Like Uncanny Valley, like you said. Good luck explaining that.
Yeah.
And again, I took off for them being like, no, we need to merge and stay together. I'm not leaving you. This is happening. Let's just accept it, kind of thing. Pretty much everything else I saw in the movie would make it a lot more believable that one of them would die or they would both, like, yeet to opposite sides of the country.
Well, they're kind of making it sound like if they didn't give in, that they both would die.
Yeah. But that's why at first I was more accepting that, like, he was going to try to kill himself. Because by his logic, it made sense. Like, if it wasn't going to stop no matter what, unless one of them was dead or they had merged or both died. She had the job. Everything was in her name. She was going places. And he was just kind of stuck in the past. and clinging on to something that was clearly unhealthy and toxic. And she had grown and he was stagnant and wasn't moving forward at all. So that made sense. And since she was already injured, it would have been a bummer, but it could have been the kick in the pants that he needed to move on and do something with his life.
Yeah.
Instead of just relying on his partner to do everything.
Yeah, it wasn't a super satisfying ending because
really
they don't.
wasn't.
It's not like they really grew from the situation or became better people.
They really didn't. They just chose to stay in the unhealthy environment together forever.
Yeah.
So,
Which, unfortunately, sometimes that happens.
it does, unfortunately. So, and how would they explain this to their friends and all? Do they just cut ties or what? Like,
Yeah.
and like I said, her parents who showed up on their doorstep for breakfast or lunch or something.
Yeah, I
the
think
next
it's like
day.
brunch or something, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Talk about awkward.
So, yeah, this one's an odd one. Not like I said before, like definitely not for everyone. But it is.
I wouldn't eat during it.
Yeah, no.
It's unpleasant.
But, you know, I feel like it's at least an interesting movie, even though it does have some awkward / cringe / painful moments to it.
Yeah. It's an interesting watch, but it's uncomfy.
Yeah, for sure. Not a good beginning, not a good middle, and not a good end. Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely, like we said before, a WTF did I just watch kind of movie.
Yeah.
So if that's your cup of tea, then by all means, have fun. But it's a weird one.
Yep. But thank you for joining us today and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord server. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
Not exactly what I expected from our Valentine's pick. But if you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe, like, and share our content. And we also have a Teespring and a PayPal donate button if you'd like to support us monetarily. And again, you can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.